The Pirates are on the clock for the first pick on July 9th. Will they select one of the two national champions from LSU, the slugger from Florida, or shock everyone? We won't officially know until Manfred calls out a name, but let's find out in my 2023 MLB Mock Draft. The number 1 overall pick, the Pirates take Paul Skenes. With the new report that Dylan Crews may not sign with the Pirates will instead draft his teammate number 1. Far and away the best pitcher in the draft, Skenes continued his domination in the College World Series and is capable of hitting 100 plus on nearly every pitch, and with a devastating slider to go with it. Skenes could be the ace the Pirates have not had in a long time. With the second pick, the Nationals take Wyatt Langord. There's reports that Langord could go number 1 overall. He doesn't here, but he still gets selected before Crews. Not everyone gets to say they have the potential of a 5-tool player, but Langord definitely does. A 65 grade power, and he also has the ability to play catcher, infield, and outfield, making him not just the most fun prospect in the draft, but could also have the highest ceiling. With the third pick, the Tigers select Dylan Crews. Here we go. 3 is about as far as you'll see him fall in any mock draft, but with that recent report I mentioned earlier, 3 isn't as crazy as it would have been a week ago. Detroit would be more than stoked to see Crews fall to them. With the fourth pick, the Rangers take Max Clark, the first high schooler off the board. Power is the worst part of his game, and even that is a 50 grade. Defense comes first for him with his elite speed, being able to track down any fly ball in his zip code, and his arm is almost just as dominant. With so many misses for the Rangers, Clark would give them an easy make. With the fifth pick, the Twins take Walker Jenkins. Hard for a high schooler to be a quote-unquote safe pick, but Jenkins is above average at every part of the game. Minnesota has been good at selecting talent as of recent, and if Jenkins' power and arm continue to get better, then you might see him in a major league outfield sooner than other high schoolers selected. With the sixth pick, the Athletics select are John Namala, possibly the last first-round pick for the Oakland Athletics. The current team is really bad, but the Athletics have actually done a great job, better than most, at hitting on their draft picks. They just trade them away once it's time to pay them. His ceiling isn't as high as others, but at just 17 all the time in the world, Namala might be the first face of the Las Vegas Athletics. With the seventh pick, the Reds select Chase Dollander. Finally another pitch off the board, this time from the Volunteers. Control could be a little better, but he has a fastball that tops out at 99 and 3 secondary pitches behind him. Cincinnati has developed a lot of pitchers very well the last few years. Expect Dollander to be no different. With the eighth pick, the Royals select Noble Meyer. The Royals have it tough. They've been rebuilding since 2018, have 0 top 100 prospects, and their supposed superstar has not lived up to the hype. Meyer is a 6'5 righty who can throw 98 with a strikeout slider. With the ninth pick, the Rockies take Kyle Teel. With Teal's power arguably being the worst part of his game, nothing can help that more than playing at Coors Field. Teel is the first catcher off the board, and rightfully so. You won't want to run on him. The chances are you're going to be out. With the 10th pick, the Marlins select Rhett Lauder. No one has been better at developing pitchers the last few years than the Marlins. Unlike the other arms mentioned so far, the fastball isn't his prized possession. Lauder's changeup is arguably the best in the country, making him an easy arm to develop in Miami. With the 11th pick, the Angels take Enrique Bradfield Jr., one of the most exciting prospects in this draft. In his sophomore year, he went 46 for 46 on stolen base attempts, and with that speed comes elite defense. He'll never be a big hitter, but if he can keep that OBP up, then he's a dangerous leadoff hitter. With the 12th pick, the Diamondbacks select Jacob Wilson. His stock keeps falling, so you could see him falling into the late teens. It's nearly impossible to strike out Wilson, as he struck out only 2.8% of his at-bats. He's nowhere near a power hitter, and his bat is light. He'll have a lot to prove early. With the 13th pick, the Cubs take Colin Hulk. His swing and misses could be concerning, but at only 18 years old and above average tools at most parts of his game, the Cubs have what it takes to develop Hulk into a solid infielder. With the 14th pick, the Red Sox take Thomas White. Would take a big surprise for another lefty to be taken before White. A 6'5 lefty flamethrower is as dangerous as it seems. He knows that too, because Vanderbilt is waiting for him, and he could bet on himself if not taken as early as he prefers. With the 15th pick, the White Sox select Aiden Miller. A huge ceiling with his power and an arm to get anyone out at the hot corner. But with that, he has bust calling his name if the White Sox can't develop him well. Although a lot of notable draft picks, most haven't lived up fully to their potential. Not the best landing spot for Miller's sake. With the 16th pick, the Giants select Yohandy Morales. Raw power that has only gotten better as his Hurricanes career has progressed, and a nice arm to carry him at third base can make him an everyday player at the hot corner, but not a superstar. With the 17th pick, the Orioles take Hurston Waldrop. Fangraphs called him having an airbender type splitter, which gives me Devin Williams type, but the goal for him will be to pitch every 5 games rather than coming out of the bullpen. A fastball that can reach 99 and a good slider behind both of those could make an ace in Baltimore. With the 18th pick, the Brewers take Brock Wilton. The Brewers farm is full with a lot of guys who don't have much power behind Chiriot. Wilton would change that in an instant, hitting 31 home runs in 66 games his last year with the Demon Deacons, a very strong arm that will have to carry his below average fielding that could take him to first base. With the 19th pick, the Rays take Jacob Gonzalez. Hitting for 3 straight years in the best conference in the country should be enough proof that you're good, but there's still a lot of holes in his game that could lead to a drop for him. With the 20th pick, the Blue Jays take Matt Shaw. A weak arm might have him switch to second in pro ball, but for a 5'11", 185-pound guy, he has a ton of pop. Include that with low strikeouts, high walks, Toronto could finally have Bichette's middle infield friend. With the 21st pick, the Cardinals take Bryce Eldridge. The most intriguing prospect in this entire draft. Eldridge is 6'7" at just 18 years old and is arguably the best power hitter in this draft. His arm is good enough to be moved from first base and take him into the outfield. Also, he can go on to the mound and throw 97 with multiple secondary pitches. Usually these two-way players get pushed one way or the other by the organization that drafts them. If he wants to play both, then the traditional Cardinals may not be his best fit. With the 22nd pick, the Mariners take Colt Emerson. He won't turn 18 until a week after the draft, making him one of the youngest guys available. With a bigger frame than most shortstops, you'll most likely see him change positions. A lot of hard contact from the left side of the plate and solid defense, he'll be someone that interests a lot of teams. With the 23rd pick, the Guardians take Travis Sikora. At just 19 years old, he stands at 6'6" and 232 pounds with a fastball that can reach 101 but usually cruises at 97-98. Cleveland has produced some solid pitching as of late, and if Sikora can keep up his speed while continuing to develop his other pitches, then they have another one in their shadows. With the 24th pick, the Braves select Tommy Troy, a versatile defensive player that can play all around the infield and even has the speed to play center field. He just hasn't shown that on the base paths. Troy has enough pop to give a team a high enough slugging for a utility guy. With the 25th pick, the Padres select Blake Mitchell. Like Eldridge, Mitchell is a two-way player but is nearly a guarantee to just be a hitter. His defense provides a great arm, but any ball in the dirt has to scare his pitcher with his inability to block. Defense can always improve, but right now he looks like he'll move from behind the plate. His bat is boom or bust like a lot of hitters nowadays. Giving him a huge upside, but a high risk comes with him. With the 26th pick, the Yankees select Nolan Chanel. In his last year, he had more than 5 times as many walks as strikeouts, almost unheard of. Like every big first baseman, he has some pop. Maybe a little less than the average one, but if his plate discipline stays the same, then the Yankees have an on-base machine. With the 27th pick, the Phillies select Charlie Soto. The Phillies have turned their top 2020 and 21 draft picks into 2 of the better pitching prospects in baseball, so they might as well try it again with the 6'5" righty who will still only be 17 at the draft. He can also routinely throw a fastball at 98+. With the 28th pick, the Astros select Ralphie Velasquez. Houston has had plenty of consistent hitters last 7 years, and Velasquez would definitely continue that. He's another catcher heading into the draft who has a solid chance to be moved early on in his pro ball career. Even if he does move to first base, Velasquez is a bat that is a first round talent. And just for note, the Dodgers and Mets do not have a first round pick this season due to going over the $270 million tax, leaving only 28 picks in the first round, not including the supplemental picks. Who's your favorite prospect in the draft? Who's going to be a major bust? Let me know down in the comments. Appreciate you guys watching so much, and I'll see you in the next one.